Hi everyone, my name is Mitchell Trench, and before I get started I'll just talk about this experience at check-in at Sydney Airport. The line was very long and I got there with later than usual and I didn't know if I'd make it to get to boarding. A330 Air China, Sydney to Chengdu. So my name is Mitchell Trench and welcome to MJT Global. You can go onto my website mjtglobaltravel.com to look at all my travel logs and travel blogs, and also you can have a look at trip details as well that you may be interested in going on as well. That's published on my website. So anyway, this trip is Sydney to Chengdu. I don't know why I said Chengdu, but I had a throat issue, so also that's why I might sound a bit like hoarse and maybe coughing a bit. But anyway, this trip was really cool because this was the beginning. This was in November, so it's a little bit delayed from upload, but this flight this was like the second flight from Sydney to Chengdu, the second scheduled flight on Air China on an Airbus A330. And like I said, I was cutting boarding really fine. I think boarding it open, I had 20 minutes to spare once I went through security. And I didn't even have time to get a battery adapter, like a power plug adapter. But anyway, so this is me boarding the flight, Air China A330.
Hello, welcome. Please this way.
So this was an A330 and it's not my favorite aircraft at all. It's probably one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite. But the only thing that I really like with any of these Airbus A330s, A340s is that the seat configuration is 2x4x2 and the two on the side is just really good. Yeah. An interesting thing on this flight was that I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of groups on this flight and the same vice versa on the way back. And something really interesting, unlike any other flight I'd really been on, maybe when I flew China Eastern to Shanghai it was like this, but I just can't remember. But there were so many people congregating from the beginning of the flight all the way to the end. Congregating, standing up, having chats. I don't know if it's just because there were groups, so they all kind of knew each other. But yeah, a lot of standing around at any chance they can get. So yeah, that was really interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, after we take off shortly, please make sure that the seatbelt is securely fastened and the mobile phone will switch on at all times. Thank you.
I will say the moment that I walked on the plane and saw that there were no TV screens on the back of the seats, my heart just sunk, because this is a 10.5-hour flight. And I knew that on the Airbus A330s for Air China from Sydney to Beijing and Sydney to Shanghai, they do have screens. So I was just in shock. They had the screens that came out from the roof, and the content they played were like Chinese movies and Chinese TV shows with Chinese subtitles only. And even I couldn't really see it from where I was seated, but it was more catered to the people sitting in the middle of the middle. And when you've got a middle of the middle seat on an A330 with no screen, I think they deserve to be able to see the screen better. But yeah, that was just a shock to me. On the screens, upon takeoff and landing, they did have the camera that faced down from the belly, and that was also cool, but also I felt a little bit discombobulated, I must admit. So this is a snack, which were a bag of peanuts, and that was really hard to open, by the way. It took me like the whole flight to open it. And this is the meal, which was lunch. The food was really good. Really good. The salad was pretty nice. That cake was amazing. The chocolate cake, like a chocolate mud cake, and then that was like potato, more like wedges, and a chicken something, I can't remember. Oh, but the food was really good, so that was really good. My only problem with the lunch was that they brought out drinks after they brought out the meal. So they'd bring out the meal, then come back to collect trash and give you your drink. And I really like eating and having a drink, and so that was really difficult. But I learnt very quickly to have a drink when they bring the drinks and save it for the meal. I'll also say that the seats were really comfortable as well, and there was a sufficient amount of legroom, and I'm a tall person, so add a decent amount of legroom for an economy seat. And yeah, this is the sunset somewhere over the Philippines, and it was really spectacular and really magical to watch. You never grow old of looking at sunsets from the plane. I have no idea what that snack is. If someone can comment below what it is, but they gave it to us like on every Air China flight. And it was okay, just kind of dry, but it was pretty nice. I was looking so forward to this part of the flight. I remember it so well on China Eastern when I was 19. But they have like a what would you call it? Like, I guess a yoga program on the TV. And as you can see there, when they do the movements, the passengers do the movements too. It's just so much fun to watch. It's like only on a Chinese airline would this happen, and people would like feel influenced enough to follow the yoga moves. And it's a really clever thing. Obviously, when you travel long haul, you want to avoid like having blood clots and stuff like that. So it's definitely a cool thing to have, but I think if they showed this on any other airline, people would just kind of ignore it. But I love that everyone actually goes and does the exercises on the program. It's so good. I'm guessing that was somewhere over Hong Kong or Guangzhou. The flight map wasn't showing. But anyway, this is the dinner, which was lasagna and pasta salad with fruit a nice chocolate snack as well, which you can see on the side, and I just had a Coca-Cola. The meal was really good once again. I was just so happy with the quality of the meals, actually, and the generous portions as well. Yes, that was a chocolate snack, which is macadamia chocolates, and that was really nice as well. I was just really satisfied and pleasantly surprised by the meal quality.
30分，机舱外的温度12摄氏度，54华氏度，飞机已经开始下降，请您调直座椅靠背，放下座椅扶手，收起小桌板及脚踏板，系好安全带并打开遮光板。为了避免干扰飞行系统，请关闭各电脑等电子设备。在舱门开启前，请您不要打开手机。我们即将关闭娱乐系统，卫生间稍后也将停止使用。我们将调暗客舱灯光，需要阅读的旅客建议您打开阅读灯，谢谢。Ladies and gentlemen, we will be arriving at Chengdu International Airport in 30 minutes. There is 3-hour time difference between Chengdu and Sydney. The local time is 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The ground temperature is 12 degrees Celsius or 54 degrees Fahrenheit. As we're landing shortly, please put your seatbelt on. 欢迎您来到成都双流国际机场，我们将在1号候机楼进港。成都与悉尼的时差为3小时，现在是当地时间星期三晚上10点50分。机舱外的温度12摄氏度，54华氏度，飞机还将滑行一段距离，请您继续留在座位上并系好安全带。 保持您的手机处于关闭状态，直到安全带指示灯熄灭。到达成都的旅客，请在本站办理检疫、入境及海关手续。如果您需转乘其他航班，请到中转柜台办理转折手续。全体机组成员再次感谢您选乘星空联盟成员中国国际航空公司的航班。我们很荣幸与您共同度过了一段愉快的航班，期待与您再次相会。祝您在成都愉快，再见。Ladies and gentlemen, we have just landed at the Chengdu International Airport, Terminal 1. There is a 3-hour time difference between Chengdu and Sydney. The local time in Chengdu is 10:50 p.m. on Wednesday. The ground temperature is 12 degrees Celsius or 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign has been switched off. And please also keep your mobile phone switched off until the seatbelt sign goes off. If the destination is Chengdu, please collect your checked baggage and clear immigration here. All transit passengers should proceed to the transit lounge. It's been operated for several on this flight. Thank you for flying with Starlux Singapore Air China flight. We look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Have a nice evening in Chengdu. Goodbye.
Overall, with this flight, it was really good. The big things was that there's no TV screen, which was it was so difficult. The flight was comfortable enough, especially on an A330. I really dislike A330s because it's also very uncomfortable, but it was pretty comfortable. The flight attendants were not so nice. They seemed to kind of blank, borderline mean. And there was an incident where at the beginning of the flight I noticed it said that no phones are allowed to be on, even on flight mode, and I was like, oh my gosh, because after I didn't see a TV screen, I decided that I would just use my phone and go on videos and listen to music. But then I saw that rule, and I think it's a rule on all Chinese airlines. So as we were taxiing, I turned my phone off, and the flight attendant touched my shoulder and said, like, pointed at my phone, and I said, yeah, I'm turning it off. And she said, no, turn off, not airplane mode. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But anyway, so there was that, and they just seemed kind of stressed from the beginning of the flight all the way to the end. And also the people were congregating, or the passengers were congregating, like I said, throughout the flight, and were standing up. The seatbelt sign, okay, this is the thing, there was no seatbelt sign ever off. It was always on from the moment that we taxied till the moment that we taxied back into Chengdu. So I didn't know when it was appropriate to actually go to the toilet or to stand up, although I generally have a rule where when I sit down I have my seatbelt on, but people disregarded the seatbelt sign because of that reason.
Goodbye, sir.
And people were standing up, and when the flight was landing, people were standing up, and the flight attendants who were sitting in the jump seat had to yell out for them to sit down. And some of the passengers seemed like they'd never been on a plane, which could definitely be the case, but there was a lot of the thing, like the seatbelt sign really could have been used appropriately and could have aided people to know when to sit and when to stand, but that was kind of annoying as well. So it was just those things, but apart from that, the flight was comfortable, the food was very good, and it went by quicker than I was fearing. So yeah, overall a decent flight on Air China Sydney to Chengdu.
坐摆渡客车。摆渡客车就要启动了，为了您的安全，请您坐好，扶好扶手。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to take Baidu bus. Baidu bus is about to start. Please sit down. For your safety, please hold the handrail.
太台湾了。
那个是直接举断的，你知道的。他那断，这个举点举了，这个有点小。
上一个车，马上帮我问一下。
This was the Chengdu hotel that they put me in because my flight was the next day, so I stayed overnight there. Air China put me in that hotel, which I found really good. And it was a really nice hotel actually, for like a 3-star hotel, so I'll put the link down below. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to see all my travel videos, and until next time, goodbye. 再见.